Now, I know we were just doing Hearthstone in a week, and we got back to Steins Gate, and now it's another week of Hearthstone, and you're like, why? Why are you breaking the flow of Steins Gate? Look, nobody's more upset about it than I am. Did a bunch of recording over the weekend while Dave was in town. Got to all sorts of fun stuff, some of which we'll be posting pretty soon. I just don't quite have it ready for this week yet either. And then we were doing some NBA, and we noticed that some of the videos weren't recording properly. So that shiny new Elgato capture device I got seems to be struggling. We lost like almost 3 hours of footage because of it. So rather than potentially waste another 2 hours on what was already a very busy Sunday, we pushed it back a bit. And I have to decide whether I want to send this back and get a new version of the old one that I had for a couple of years that worked good before it broke down. Or if I want to go another direction entirely, like a Huff page or something, or however you pronounce that thing. Haven't decided yet.
Your soul shall be mine.
So instead, we're just going to play a little bit of Hearthstone, climb up the ladder a little bit, or fail to climb up the ladder. See how it goes. We're at rank 17, haven't played a ton this month. It's been relatively busy. Not as bad as September was, but not great. My goal most months since they instituted the new reward at the end of the season thing is kind of just to get to 15.
I don't have enough mana.
I'd love to tap for 1. Doesn't work that way. Getting to 15 gets you to the next tier of rewards, which usually means another golden card. Which doesn't ultimately add up to a ton, but it's okay. I don't know if we have the luxury of tapping here against a mega aggro hunter. I think we... Yeah, now we're doing it. Long term is the best. That's a sludge belcher, that'll help. Not a ton, but it'll help.
To my side.
That's not a great one for us to see right now at all. Now I don't know so much if that was the right choice. Maybe pointing out the Earthen Ring Farseer would have been better. I don't know. As we go Mega Lag, and we don't have Hellfire, which is useful for us in this matchup. We don't have Shadow Flame. We don't have much of anything. So really we're just dead. And there's nothing I can do about that. I can coin a Belcher, but I don't know that it does us any good. It's probably better than a Twilight Drake, though, to be honest. Long term, I mean, we need the Drake out.
So many possibilities.
We're just dead. It doesn't matter. Let's do the play that might keep us alive, but won't. A lot of the useful tools that we have to deal with early hunter aggression, and quite frankly, I think this deck does pretty well against it, didn't have this game. Mortal Coils are great for all the Liver Gnome shenanigans and or web spinners. A lot of strong options. We didn't get to any of them, and now we're going to be dead. All we did by playing the Sludge Belcher last turn is postpone the inevitable. We'll do this because it's fun, it feels good inside. And we'll do this because it's fun and feels good inside. We still don't have Shadow Flame, though, so it doesn't really much matter. That's why playing these out of order doesn't really matter, because we just concede. Like that was backwards, but who cares? Yes, very good. We're all very impressed by Face Hunter, which, as always, continues to be the most boring and unintelligible deck in the game. But hey, it's good for ladder climbing, so there's that. Well, let's do another one, because that was mega short. One of the core philosophies that Blizzard has always talked about with Hearthstone is the idea of board creation and interaction and trading and clearing and having these minions kind of run into each other. And unlike Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic, you always have the choice, attack minions or attack face, with exceptions like taunters and whatever. A lot of cards that have broken that balance by making too much damage happen too quickly have been nerfed. Most recently, Grim Patron got a nerf, because you could do way too much burst damage way too quickly. It didn't really matter. Like, if you had low attack minions out with, less than 3 attack, the patrons would bounce off those endlessly and get stuff going crazy with Frothing Berserker and whatnot. If you didn't have any minions up, they just swept out themselves with Whirlwinds and Death Bite explosions, and that was great. Face Hunter, the point I'm getting to with this, seems kind of similar to me at times. It usually runs a couple of owls to taunt, or to take out your taunts with silence, and it just runs things into you until either it peters out and it can't win anymore, or you die. Now, I'm not saying it shouldn't exist or should be nerfed or anything. You kind of need aggro because you don't want control decks to be too strong either. You need that balance, and that's fine. It's just, it's annoying to play against, that's all.
So many options.
I don't like it. And even though I have a Face Hunter deck, that's because, well, I don't really have, I have more of a mid-range one nowadays. I had one for a while just for the sake of doing quests, but I didn't like that I did. I felt bad about it. I never used it to climb up the ladder. The few times I have tried to. The hell with that. I recognize it's a good one for it, though. I mean, as far as getting many wins out as quickly as possible, ideally getting streaks along the way. To rise up the ladder, I mean, why would you want to play control? You can play 3 games and win 2 of them in the span it takes you to play 1 game with like a mill deck. Or, you know, control warrior with all those legendaries in it or whatever. Then why wouldn't you? What's the plan here? Backstab is interesting. Not what I expected to see there. Thought maybe Eviscerate as a combo was coming there, but he didn't have the mana. Could have coined. I don't know. Not what I expected, I admit. I'm kind of torn. Drake is Drake is fine. We'll Drake and we'll trade, and we'll have 2 nice minions sitting out there, and we'll call it a day. Face Hunter reminds me a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Not favorably. Yep. Couldn't think of the name of the card, but I knew the effect was coming. And I say that because Yu-Gi-Oh! Has essentially devolved over time, and this has been this way for a while, into if your deck isn't a 1-turn kill deck, don't bother. You don't have a ton of decks out there that win wars of attrition. It's not to say it's impossible or anything, it's just not a thing that you do. I think this is pretty clear. There's our mana for this and this. Yes, Dark Bomb would also work, but then we've had 2 mana left over anyways, so we'll go that approach instead. Only got the 2. Seems to be a trend with Implosion lately, but of course you remember the bad ones and you forget the good ones. That's selection bias.
Come close and listen.
With Yu-Gi-Oh! There are other decks that are viable. Not very often, but they exist. You can still run stuff like Exodia. There was a Final Countdown variant, although it was also kind of a 1-turn kill in a way, a different way. It's just, otherwise you're playing a bunch of burst damage and you're not interacting. That's the whole point, right? You're supposed to, like, play things off one way or the other. Well, we need to get rid of that Sensei. Hellfire is just the dumbest option.
So many
Could just dock the boom.
possibilities.
Seems fine. I think we'll dock the boom. And we'll just go here and here. Got a Belcher blocking things off right now. Get a boom out there, keep the pressure up. No other play in our hands really all that attractive. So it has come to this. Well, we have an ideal Mortal Coil target now, don't we? Now we have all sorts of things we can do here, but we're going to start with this. And then...
I've got the beast in my sight.
That seems good. Then we duff here, just to make sure it doesn't die from 2 really, really poorly placed bombs for us. That's fine. Okay. And then we're going to tap, because he has virtually no health, and we're looking for one more piece of our combo to end the game. That's annoying, but it doesn't really matter. He's left the boom alive, which means he doesn't have Eviscerate in hand. Ooh. That just feels unnecessary at this point. I think we're better off just applying pressure still, so let's consider. I think this makes a lot of sense. I think tapping makes a lot of sense. And we'll rock it like that. Now we're showing lethal, so obviously we're in great shape. It's not going to go down that way, but we currently have some form of 10 damage in hand. It's about the best we can muster out of this. Missing a few of our different little pieces of it. No power overwhelmings yet. Interesting. Did cheap. Okay. Going for taunts or something, I assume there. Didn't get it. And that'll be that. Turns out it wouldn't have mattered. We would have hellfired and killed him anyways, but as it is, it looks even worse now. Alright, a win and a loss keeps us exactly where we were. Not exactly climbing the way we wanted to, but it's okay. I don't have any aspirations of reaching legend at this point, although I'm starting to assemble enough cards, and in particular like class-specific legendaries I have a couple of now, finally, that I could maybe look at doing that soon. I don't know. And if I do, I'll bring you along for the ride, I promise. Thank you for watching.